I am God. I am Fka Twigs, also known as Tahliah. Um, so let me explain what that means. Um, well, I'll mention this first because in one of my previous videos, I made a short video mentioning that I am shy Yahweh. And the thing is that Fka Twigs, well, she was actually in a relationship with that guy called Shia LaBeouf. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, but Shia LaBeouf. You know, the guy, the actor who was in Transformers, and he was in the music video um, for the song Elastic Heart with Maddie Ziegler, you know, the very young, skinny little girl, right? So, you know, she's very, I guess you could say, twig like, right? Hang on a sec. So the thing is, my ex girlfriend, when I was in my early 20s, I had a girlfriend called Ania. And she was a very young looking girlfriend. Okay, so she was sort of, I guess you could say she was sort of underdeveloped, basically. Um, she was a very skinny thing. Um, you know, guys used to see me walk with her down the street and they used to think things about me. I remember I went to a sex shop with her once. And they asked us for our IDs. Yeah, that was a bit awkward. Um, but I mean, she was only a year younger than me. Um, I mean, it's strange actually because when I was younger, when I was 16, I had a girlfriend who was twice my age. She was 32, and after her, I was with another woman for a short time, for about a month and a half, and she was about yeah, she was about 10 years older than me. And then after her, that's when I met Ania, who was the first girl. Well, she was younger than me, and she was the first girl I'd ever been with that was very skinny. I would say she was my first skinny girlfriend, my only skinny girlfriend, I think. Anyway, um, so when you know this is the thing, I'm God, I am the Word. So FKA Twigs. Oh, hang on. I mean, the thing about FKA Twigs is that, well, it's code word. That's what it is, right? If you can't figure out what FKA means, right? So basically, you know, what I mean, I'm the guy who FKA twig. Yeah, that's what that's the thing. F the twig. Yeah. Oh, I don't want, I just said I'm shy Yahweh. Well, I mean, obviously telling you this is not very easy, although I guess I'm used to it now, kind of telling all my thoughts and everything. I'm telling you the truth. I mean, the thing is that, um, remember that there was that film that came out. It was called Cuties, and it was a French film, and in France it was called Mignon, Mignones. And it was these young girls, probably about 11, and they all want to be dancers. And and people complained about it because of the how sexually suggestive the film was, and people were uncomfortable with it. And I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, that I want you to ask yourself a question. If God was here, planet Earth, excellent timing, yeah, excellent timing there, yeah. Um, so ask yourself this question, right? If God is here, yeah, what would God want? What would God want? Do you think that God would be happy with a 12-year-old wife? Do you think that's God's choice? Do you think that God should have the right to choose what he wants? Um, I just want you to ask yourself that question, because if you're the kind of person that thinks God would never do that, God's not interested in sex, God's this, um, this is the thing, people don't want to accept that I'm God. I am God. And at the end of the day, if some person, if people think I'm crazy, I'm evil, um, and they look, the thing is, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm God. And if you try to, if you try to do anything to me, it's going to be a lot worse for you than it is for me. Yeah, I've got nothing to lose. I'm God. And obviously, for instance, let's say you managed to get me chucked in a prison cell for whatever reason that I couldn't possibly think of. But if you did manage to, it would be a lot worse for you than it would be for me, because you'd probably be begging for me to get out after about a week when you realize that millions of people have dropped dead in the world because the entire world has become an extremely hostile place. That's the thing, right? Because if you try to control me, if you try to attack me, lots of, the thing is, if you are hostile towards me, the world will be an extremely hostile place as a result of that, because the world feeds off my power, my energy. My life is my light. And if my life is living in a prison cell, well, guess what? The world's gonna feel very imprisoned all of a sudden. So, at the end of the day, I haven't done anything wrong. If you're gonna tell God that he can't have a virgin, then you're the crazy one. Yeah? I mean, obviously, I know what the law of the country is, right? I know what that is. I'm not stupid. Um, and obviously, I'm not going to go about this the wrong way. But the fact is, I'm God. I'm telling you what it is that I expect. I expect to be treated like God. What I say, what I want, I get. And if I don't get what I want, well, the world's going to be in a lot of trouble, right? And I'll just sit behind my computer screen while the world burns. Because you aren't giving me justice. Okay? So, and it's a very awkward conversation to have. And to be quite honest, years ago, I never thought that I'd be having this conversation on a camera. And the fact is, years ago, I never had the intention to look for, you know, a virgin wife. I just wanted to be happy. That's all I wanted. I just wanted a woman who would treat me good. That's all I wanted, you know. I didn't want some old granny, really. a woman about my own age. But you know what? I'm 37 years old now, and the world's been screwing with me mentally with witchcraft and all kinds of shit for a long time. The world has been attacking me and trying to destroy my life. See, the thing about a younger woman is that they are, I suppose they're more, they're easier for me to work with in a way because, women who are older, women who have slept around, well, they ain't going to listen to me as much, are they? They're not really going to learn. They're stuck in their ways, right? A lot of them, most of them, yeah. I mean, that's most people on planet Earth, to be quite honest. Um, what more can I say? I mean, I know I'm rambling right now. I'm really just speaking my mind. And this is the thing. I am God. I realized I am God, and I'm supposed to do things a certain way. Um, this is, I'm telling you how it's supposed to go, basically, and you know, it's not something that I thought I would ever think of having. But the fact is that, I've learned what my justice is supposed to look like. And I'm explaining to you what that is. So, I mean, a lot of people, and this is the thing, right? Because a lot of people are going to, hang on a second. I need a cigarette. A lot of people are going to have negative thoughts about me. But the fact is, I'm good. And in a way, it's a test as well, because if a human being can't accept that I'm God and I get what I ask for, if they're going to argue with me about that, well, I I destroy them. Yeah, they get destroyed one way or another. Um, I want they won't get anything from me ever again because they deny me what I want, what I deserve. I mean, the thing is, when I grew up, I had a lesbian mother who wanted me to be gay. She wanted me to be feminine. I've been attacked by witches. The world's been attacking me like crazy ever since I was born in this body. It's had all kinds of physical and mental effects on my body. Um, it's I've been harmed. Um, you know, I, most people, they just look at me. Oh well, you're a loser. Look at you. You're not manly. You're blah 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 blah. Well, I'm God, and I hate you for saying that about me. You shouldn't be talking shit about me like that, and you will pay the price for talking shit about me. I've been through a lot of pain in this life, and I deserve happiness. You know what Jesus said? He said, "Let the children come." Remember that when the children, they came to Jesus, and when the children, they came to Jesus, and the disciples, they were complaining about the children wanting to be with Jesus, and Jesus said, "No, let the children come." Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. 2,000 years ago, for a man to get married to a 12-year-old girl was probably a normal thing, actually. Um, that's not, it's only in recent times, really, that's changed. Um, and obviously, I could probably, I suppose there are some reasons why I might agree with the decisions that people have made, but at the end of the day, I'm good. I make the decisions. I get what I want. I don't get told by the government what I can have. No, I'm good. Why would I bow down to the government? I tell them to fuck off. Right? I tell Prime Minister Keir Starmer, kiss my ass, you bitch. Yeah, I don't care. Right? There's nobody above me. I'm good. I just want to be happy. And I want to feel like I'm loved. I just feel like, I deserve justice. So I know that I've rambled a lot here. So I want to talk about Fka Twigs Tahliah, because the thing is, the connection is, and I've explained this in loads of videos, that the singer Aaliyah Dana Houghton, she died when she was 22 years old in a plane crash. Okay, she was in a plane in the Bahamas on the 25th of August 2001. It crashed. Aaliyah is Mary. She's an evil witch. She is what the world likes to worship. The world, the Catholic Church. Yeah, the Catholic Church, they worship her. Aaliyah Dana Houghton, she used to attend Catholic Church. She used to go to Catholic churches. And she is worshipped in so many different ways, in so many different religions and groups in cults and whatever you want to call it. She likes to be worshipped all over the place. And there's evidence for it all over the place. So the thing is that, obviously there's this musician called Fka Twigs, and her name is Tahliah. That's spelled Tahliah. Now, see, the crucifix looks like the letter T. And Aaliyah means the most exalted one. So, when I say I am Fka Twigs, well, I'm saying I'm Tahliah as well. I was Jesus Christ. I was crucified on the cross, the crucifix, the thing that looks like the letter T. And I am Aaliyah, the most exalted one, or at least I should be. But the world would rather worship a whore, wouldn't they? Who's involved with child sex slavery. Strangely enough. They're happy when she does it, of course. Yeah, they're happy when, evil Mary, she's involved with child sex slavery. I mean, look at the Catholic Church. What do you fucking think they're doing? What have they been doing for hundreds of years? Yeah, all the scandals. You know about it, don't you? Yeah, you've heard about it, haven't you? And who do they worship? Mary. What do you think Mary's all about? Child abuse. Yeah, that's right. She was the mother of Jesus. She's a liar and a light stealer. She wanted to steal the light of Jesus. That is the Catholic Church in a nutshell. The reason there are so many child abusers in the Catholic Church is because they're just following their leader. That's all they're doing. They're following Mary. That's all they're doing. They're just following her example. That's what they do. Let me... hang on. So, what am I doing with this video? I was going to do some writing. Sorry, this camera app keeps trying to record me. You know, I noticed on the news there was the headline this morning when I got up. It was talking about some priest, some Catholic priest, and he's very familiar looking. He looks like his brother. Blah 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 blah. You know why they're all talking about that? It's because I record on my phone, and then I do screen recordings on my tablet. What they're trying to say, what the demons are trying to say, is that I'm not the same person who records on my phone. That's what it is. That's what these are, witches and demons trying to um separate what I'm doing. They're trying to say I'm a different person from the guy who records on a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. And I'm recording on a Samsung Galaxy S10 Tab Ultra right now. But yeah. So let me show you on my internet browser. So I'll show you a few things, okay? So we can look at Tahliah. Okay. So look, if I go back to my other tab here, look, I'll show you this one more time. So remember what I said, look. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 11. Okay? This is about the two witnesses. So, from verse 7, okay? So, now when they have finished their testimony, the beast that comes up from the abyss will attack them and overpower and kill them. Well, this is the thing. My ex-girlfriend, her name was Ania Bilak. So her initials are AB. Okay? And that's the thing, right? Because she was a very, I guess you could call her flat. She was a very skinny girl. And so, you know what the bottomless pit is, right? Someone who doesn't, someone, bottomless, what does that mean? Yeah, does that mean just, someone might say, well, she's got no ass, she's totally flat. But, the bottomless pit. So the beast that comes up from the abyss will attack them and overpower and kill them. Their bodies will lie in the public square of the great city, which is figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. So the crucifixion of Jesus is connected with sodomy and bondage, so BDSM. That's why that has become so popular in the last 20 or so years because of me. Because, well, I'm around and people want to steal, they're trying to steal my light through sex magic. And obviously it's affected me in so many ways. It's been a very serious problem for me. So here, look, I'm showing you Fka Twigs. Okay, so it says here her name is Tahliah Debrett Barnett. Excuse me. So if I go to images here, there's a music video. What's it called? It's called Pendulum. Okay. I mean, this is something that's, easy to watch on YouTube. It's and it's her bound. So, she's all tied up. Okay. She's been tied with what looks like bondage rope, basically. Now, that is, if I show you, so there's an album by the band Korn. Okay, it's called Nothing. Okay, so Korn, Nothing. So this is the album cover for, it's called the nothing. Corn, the nothing. Notice how it's called an album. Okay, that word, this is Babel. Okay, it's just saying Aliyah bum or all bum. This is see, the but is really important in magic. That's why I'm God. I don't like people doing sodomy because it's a magic orifice. So, this is the thing. This is sex magic practitioners. The reason they use bondage is because it hides the person who's bound. So this is why demons try to do binding magic against me. They're trying to bind me so that they can pretend that I don't exist. I'm not thing. And so if I go back to, and the word corn, well, I already explained that in a previous video, explaining how, a corn on the cob, it's phallus shaped, it's yellow. So, a corn on the cob, I've got a picture, hang on, if I go to my gallery, here's a picture here, right? Obviously, it's yellow. And it's, this is just, it's to hide what they do. Because look, what does it mean to yell? Yeah, and what's an O? Yeah, that's a hole. This is, and maze. You know what a maze is, right? It's a puzzle. It's people get lost in the maze. Like there's the Minotaur. Yeah, the Minotaur story. Yeah, you notice the word minor is in Minotaur. There's the word maze with the I in the middle. This is saying mother, I. Okay, so the anus is considered an eye. It's used in magic. See, the butthole is considered the third eye, the third eye, I guess you could say. And I mean, you look, it says Z-E, Z-E, us, yeah, Zeus, yeah. So this, maze, what it's really saying is mother, eyes. And, what's that's saying that there's, that it's basically saying, mother's butts, right? It's basically what it's code for is mother butts, like kidnapped, stolen butts. That's basically what it's saying. This is, children, because there's that film, there's a story by Stephen King called Children of the Corn. And the yellow, well, this is the thing, because sodomy, it hurts, right? Well, it can, yeah. So this is all, and that's, they're trying to hide what they're doing. You see, what they're trying to do, these people, they're trying to pretend they are me. They're pretending that they are me because this is, well, I am God. And like I explained in this video, my justice is supposed to look a certain way. And, these people are trying to use magic to pretend to, they're trying to appear as if they are actually me when they're not. They're trying to appear as if they are me. And the problem is that the world worships these people. The evil world worships the people who are doing this. And I'm God, and I'm extremely angry about it. I want justice. I want vengeance. And that will look a certain way. It's about me healing as well. I'm God. I need to heal. Isn't that an interesting word? He, all. You see how that's a problem? You see, I'm God. There is no other God besides me. But the world wants to think everyone is me. Or they want to believe that Aliyah is God. Yeah, which, or they want to believe that all Allah. I mean, look, Allah, well, look, it's got the word all at the beginning of it. That religion is called Islam. Yeah, you know how lamb spelled? Yeah, Lamb. It's got that silent B at the end. Yeah. The fact is that a lot of big celebrities are involved with child sex trafficking. And if they're not directly involved with it, they are doing witchcraft to protect that system. So they are, so people like Rihanna, and Aaliyah Dana Houghton, or I mean ASAP Rocky, he's having, he's the boyfriend of Rihanna, and she's pregnant with her third child at the moment. ASAP Rocky, yeah, ASAP Rocky, he has an unreleased song, and it's called Fuck 12. Yeah, it's an unreleased song, but it's been leaked online. It's actually on YouTube. Why would he make a song called Fuck 12? Do you think? Why? Why is it unreleased? Because that is all about bondage. Yeah, that's about slavery. That's what it is. If you're a slave, you are unreleased. Yeah, you haven't been released. You're a slave. Yeah, and it's called Fuck 12. There's a film. What's it called? It's called 12 Years a Slave. And obviously it's about I haven't really watched it, but it's about, I think it's about an African man. He's been enslaved. He was a slave for 12 years or something like that. But the thing is that, and it won lots of awards, because, there's, you see, this is what, and the thing is that, the people who made that film, they called it that for a reason. Yeah, because they have a thing about 12-year-olds. Okay? It's witchcraft. It's magic. Let me show you quickly, because so Freemasons, witches, they like to use tarot. it's a divination card deck. Now the thing about it's a sex magic card deck, which is, they try to disguise it as something else. So this is what the 12th card is of the major arcana. There are 22 major arcana cards. Like I explained, Aaliyah died when she was 22. The Hebrew alphabet is 22 letters long. These things are connected. So the Hanged Man, you can see he's hanging upside down. He seems to have his arms tied behind his back, and he's got his foot in there's rope tied around his ankle. And this is a sex magic card. You see, because the anus is a noose. And so people who participate in sodomy, this is the problem. How many different connections do I have to explain? I told you about, I read to you from the Bible, Sodom and Egypt. Yeah, I read it to you already. Revelation 11, verse 7 and 8. That's really interesting. You know how many cards there are in the tarot deck? 78 cards. I was born in 1987. Do you know that 19 is the sun card in tarot? Did you know that? Aaliyah Dana Houghton, she was born in 1979. So, I'm very knowledgeable. I know a lot of stuff. I probably know a lot. Well, I do know a lot more than you do. Unfortunately, I have a problem. Obviously, I try to explain as best as I can. I'm surprised, I'm annoyed that people aren't taking me seriously. So, so Fka Twigs, okay? I mean, if you see her music videos, have a look and try to figure out, what is that all about? She's got a video, which is called, she got a song, and it's called Childlike Things. Okay? The reason her name is Fka Twigs, you see, a child is twig-like, yeah? Because, they don't have a lot of flesh on their body, you know what I mean? They tend to be skinny. They're talking about, this is... And FKA is a way of saying, well, F by itself, people know that F means fuck. So, it's people know what that is. And obviously you can tell that her music and her art is very sexual. You know what I mean? It's very, that should be very obvious. Unless you're a complete fucking idiot. So, sorry, I'm just getting a bit angry here. So Tahliah is her name, her real name. And obviously there was the other singer who was Mary, who's called Aaliyah. So, there's the word, which is Alyah. And that means, so that is, I think it's, they call, Jews going back to Israel. They call that making aliyah. And aliyah also means the most exalted one. Okay? So, I mean, who is the most exalted one? Well, who should be the most exalted one? Well, that is Jesus. God. That's me. Yeah, Jesus died on the crucifix. So what, Tahliah, the name, what it really means is the crucifix, the most exalted one. Okay? That's that's what it really is. It's code. It's Babel talk, which is basically saying that that's essentially what Tahliah means. And also, like I said, Mary, well, this is the thing, the Roman Catholic Church, right? It is Italian. Yeah, see, Tahliah is in the middle of Italian. You see that? So, here's another connection. I mean, have you seen the film? Or have you seen, if you know the stories by Stephen King, there were the films. There was It, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And it's about it's about an alien clown that kills children. Lives in the sewers. That's underground in the sewers. Yeah. So, what's this really saying? Well, this is the thing. I told you, Aliyah, Mary, the Catholic Church, they're all about child abuse, child slavery. That's really what their entire thing is about. But obviously, the Catholic Church doesn't just, the Catholic Church, obviously there are a lot of people who go to the Catholic churches, but they don't, they don't know that, or they don't see it that way. But that is really what it's all about. That is the entire purpose. That's what Mary uses it all for. It's all about domination. It's all about she's trying to steal my throne, power, and authority, and getting the world to worship her. And obviously, she has lots of people who want to be involved with that. People like Rihanna, or people like R. Kelly, or people like ASAP Rocky, or people like, there's a long, long, long list of names, celebrities. That's really what Freemasonry is for. Free ma son re. Okay, Freemasons, they try to control the world through witchcraft. These people do rituals because they want to appear as if they are God. So, I mean, even look at the name here, okay? So you can clearly see Mary. Yeah, you see the name Mary is here. Yeah? And I told you what F means, right? F means fuck. Ma means mother. Re is another way of saying Mary. So what this is really saying, have sex, it's saying F Mary, and this this is her trying to steal the light of Jesus, God. Okay? She wants, because like I said, you see, a middle name is associated with the bum. Okay, this is why Rihanna, she uses her middle name, because her first name is Robin. Rihanna Fenty, that's her full name, right? Rob, yeah, that's to steal. So kidnapping children for the purposes of entering into their bodies. Yeah, rob in Rihanna Fenty. Yeah. So there's that drug problem in America, well, mostly in America. There's that drug. It's called fentanyl. Yeah, I think that's how it's spelled. You see, that's connected with Rihanna because it's basically like saying Fenty anal. That's basically what it is. Fentanyl or Fenty anal. That's is connected with that, or it's Fenty kneel, right? So you're kneeling down to the Fenty sort of thing. That's why people are so drawn to it. It's one of the reasons. It's how this is how magic works. I mentioned in my previous video, I said that I am magic basically because I am ma guy C. Yeah, because there's the magi. Yeah, and I see. When Jesus was born, they were the three wise men. Yeah, and they were called the magi. There's a video on YouTube, and the title of it is "Who Are the Magi?" And it's there's the three wise men standing in front of Mary holding the baby Jesus. Well, it's Jesus who's the magi, right? I'm God. I am the magi. I am the magi. See, the world is obsessed with trying to take my power. That's the problem. That like I said, Jesus is described as the Word. Yeah, God gave man the ability to speak, not the other way around. I'm God, I created the universe, I created the animals, I created the plants, I created the elements, I created all kinds of stuff. Okay, I gave language to people. So, let me keep going here. There's a song by hang on, get me a new page here. There's that song by Sia, and the song's called Elastic Heart. And this is the thing, because Sia, well, it can mean different things, but well, it's a code. This is a magic name. Okay, it's all. These are sex magic practitioners. That's what they're all about, and people love to worship them and think they're great and amazing. Elastic. Well, that's the thing. This is talking about sodomy. It's because look, I mean, it's also talking about God because El means God. Okay, it's the singular of Elohim. You see, God in the Bible, so in the Old Testament, I was called Elohim, and that means gods in plural. But this is the thing, because there are no other gods except me. I'm God. And the thing is, man, he likes to invent all kinds of stories. And what this is really about is God saying, me saying that I'm all of them. That, you keep inventing gods, but I'm all of them. There is no other God except me. I'm all of them. So, this is, the name of this song. It's saying God, L, ass, stick, heart. That's what it's really saying. And this is about sodomy. I mean, you know Noah's Ark, right? So Noah's Ark. Yeah? Well, what does it mean if, if a woman's told she has no ass? It basically means she's got a flat ass. Doesn't it? Yeah? And also, well, I could be called no ass as well because, well, I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a wife. I'm God and I am no ass. Yeah? No one wants anything to do with me. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the thing about my ex-girlfriend is, well, I used to live with her in a flat called Flat 24 Albion House in Brighton. When I separated from her, when she moved out, there were all the conspiracies about flat Earth. Everyone started talking about flat Earth conspiracy theories. That's when they became really popular online, and that's when people started going all crazy about flat Earth. I mean, obviously back then I didn't realize. I mean, I was looking at these conspiracy videos thinking this is crazy, I'm like, yeah, I found it kind of interesting, I was like, what's this all about? It's only in recent years that I've figured out why that happened, why that became a conspiracy thing back then. That's I'm God, and witches want my power. My ex-girlfriend was a witch. So what else can I say about this? So I was talking about Fka Twigs, okay? I mean, that's the thing. She's done videos with ASAP Rocky. Yeah? The same guy who made an unreleased song called Fka 12. He's got he's got an album, right? He's got an album. So you see in a lot of his videos, so the artwork that's used in his music videos, there are the car crash test dummies. Yeah, why would he use that? Why is that a recurring why does he use that kind of art in his music videos? And then I think it was one of his albums. But this is the thing, because in Magic and in the tarot deck, there's the Chariot card. I'll quickly show it to you again, because I showed it in a previous video, but I'll show it to you again. It's all, these are all sex magic cards. That's what they are. So the Chariot tarot, and so here it is. Okay, so down here, so there's a guy. He's, this is associated with the zodiac sign Cancer. And this is why a lot of people are dying of cancer these days. They're getting cancer because they're doing witchcraft. And my mum died of anal cancer. You see these down here, these are sphinxes, right? Sphinx, you see the sphinx and the sphincter, they are connected words. Yeah, so this is talking about bondage and sodomy. Yeah? See, this is, this is the thing. A car is something that you ride. Yeah? And people, a lot of people, it's quite common for cars to get female names, the name of a woman. And also, think of, I drive a Jaguar. A Jaguar is considered a pussycat in a sense. Yeah. Um, my car is a Jaguar F-Type R. That's, do you know what I mean? It's almost like you could almost call it a Jaguar fucker. Yeah, basically. Um, there's so many things I could say about that, but and obviously, a lot of people, they believe in karma. Yeah, karma. Well, that's basically saying car is mother. Um, and obviously there's the word karmic. And obviously, mic can mean microphone, or there's Archangel Michael. Yeah, so Archangel Michael. And Archangel Michael, he's the angel. Well, there's the Revelation chapter 10 that talks about an angel with a rainbow on his head. Well, I told you, Aaliyah Dana Houghton, she was a black woman. Yeah? Rainbow. So the car crash thing, it's what it's really about is it's talking about sex in a bed, because the chariot is also called the bed. Chariot is used as a word to describe the bed. And obviously a crash, well, that involves injuries and death. Okay? So this is the thing, this is why A$AP Rocky uses that's the reason why he chose to use car crash dummies. I'll show you the artwork. Not that. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, A$AP Rocky. I'll search album, because I'm sure it's on an album cover. I'm not sure which one it is. Yeah, so there's an album, it's called Testing. Okay? So you see here, he's sitting on top of a car, a Mercedes. He's sitting on top of a crash test dummy. Yeah? So, that's what that's about. Here's another cover here. Yeah? There are people in this world, they want to believe this guy's a good guy. I mean, you see how he's got a crucifix tattooed under his left eye. What does that mean? Does that mean he's a Christian? Or, that's the thing, that's basically like saying, I left Christianity. Yeah? Because it's under his left eye. I left Christianity. That's essentially what it is. I mean, if I show you more pictures of him, so A$AP Rocky, there's a picture, he's got loads of clips. He's got loads of hair clips in his hair. So if I show you this one, you see how he's got lots of hair clips in his hair. They're girls' hair clips that he's got in his hair. Here he's lying down with all kinds of test dummies. So, hopefully I've shown you enough there. Okay. So, I need a roll cigarette. So, What else can I talk about? So that's the thing, I when that film came out, which was called Cuties, and it was about these young 11-year-old girls dancing, and people didn't like it. People complained about it. Well, this is the thing. Back then, so I basically, well, um, so in about the year 2016, I left my job as a network engineer. I worked in IT in Brighton as a network engineer. I left that job and I cut ties. So I stopped being friends and talking to people, basically. I cut ties with people. So this is the thing, because that's the problem with the word cuties. That's the problem with the word cuties, because cuties is saying, well, it's trying to, it is cut ties, right? Because, if you do it like that, yeah, cut ties. When words overlap like that, well, do you know what the Vesica Pisces is, right? So the Vesica, or the Vesica Piscis, which is the I'll show it to you. So the Vesica, this is seen quite a lot in Catholic art, associated with Mary, because so this is what the Vesica uh, Pisces or looks like. And this is the thing, Rihanna, her zodiac sign is Pisces. That's the fish. And Vesica Pisces, it means fish bladder. So it's this bit that overlaps in the middle. And there's Catholic art where they make a drawing to depict Jesus inside of the Vesica Pisces. It's supposed to say, it's basically showing that Jesus is in the vagina of Mary. Why would they have that kind of art? Why would they do that? Here, look, you can see that, the one eye symbolism is also associated with the Vesica Pisces as well. If I show you, look, here's, here's the Christian artwork, the Catholic artwork I was talking about. Yeah. And then, it's here in tarot. And, obviously this is an Islamic thing over here as well. So, all this stuff is really important to mention. So, and, so this is the thing. I cut ties with everybody. I don't have any friends. I don't have anyone that I really talk to. Obviously, I make videos in the hope that someone will listen to me, but I don't socialize with anybody. I try to be polite to people when I'm, getting a food delivery or a takeaway, or I'm going shopping. I try to be polite. I've got enough trouble in my life without asking for more. I try to avoid giving myself more problems than I already have. I'm just trying to tell you who I am. I just want you to know who I am and how things are supposed to go. I mean, I know what I said at the beginning of this video probably sounds kind of shocking. But the fact is, I am God. And people will argue with me about that, no doubt. Of course they will. They'll be like, no, you're not. Yeah? This is the thing, right? Because, like I showed you, yeah, I showed you the Tahliah thing, right? And I showed you the corn nothing, yeah? You know, I tell you, I'm God. And then you say, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not God. You're not God. You're not God. And you'll talk shit about me and you'll do witchcraft against me to try to kill me. And then you wonder why there's so much war, why the fact that the power of, the value of your currency, your money, you're losing your money. Yeah, everything you want in life is slipping away from you. People are dying. Your life is falling apart. That's because you're doing this to me. This is what you're doing to me. You're trying to claim that I don't exist. And while you're doing this, you're worshipping pedophiles. You're worshipping child enslavers. Like Rihanna. Yeah? I mean, I'll show you, okay? Because, so if I search Rihanna, Anti. Yeah, she had an album called Anti. Okay, so she did some videos. You see there's a video, there's an image here, a little child, and he's got this crown around his face, and this braille, the writing on the crown is in braille. Now someone actually figured out what that braille meant, and it was a phone number. And they called the phone number, and they recorded all of it, and it got posted on YouTube, and it's all code speak for child sex slavery. So let me see. There's anti. Look, if I just put measuring tape, maybe I'll get it through here. There's a, yeah, maybe not on here, but in one of the because she did these sort of arty anti videos. They're witchcraft videos, and there's a woman, and she has the braille written all over her body, all over her face, and she's she's got a measuring tape. She's tied with a measuring tape, and that woman speaks in the video in the voicemail message of the phone number, basically saying that that we'll find you someone that fits. Yeah, it's basically it's advertising child sex slavery by saying, yeah, you'll find something that is tailored to fit your needs. Yeah, that's what it's saying. We'll find something tight for you. That's what it's really saying. And the thing is that the reason she chose to use the word anti, well, that's the thing, because anti, when you say anti-Christ, anti comes before Christ. And anti is code for anus tie, which is Sodom and Egypt again. Also, I have an aunt, Auntie Christine. She's the sister of my dead mum. So, I've been trying to raise awareness about this for a long time. I've been, before I even knew I was God, I was I was on the trail of this, trying to figure out who the Freemasons are, who is pulling the strings, who is trying to control the world, and what is it these people are doing to get away with what they're doing. And that was the path of truth that I was following. And that truth led to me understanding who I am, God. And this is the thing, because anyone else in my position, there would already be people saying, yeah, you must be God then. But the fact is, because I am God, nobody wants to know. Nobody cares. There are lots of people in this world who claim to be God. And they have lots of followers. They usually have their own little cult thing going by now. I can't even get one person to acknowledge my existence. They just treat me like I'm a clown. And I'm really angry about it. So, the other thing I should mention is, well, the ghost of Mary is on the front of my body. So, let me just switch to the camera here. Okay. So, the ghost of Mary she's upside down. So basically, she's sitting on my face. She's sitting on my face. And her head's down there. So you see the crucifix, the T is associated with pain and suffering because, well, that's what she deserves, right? So I am the crucifix of Aaliyah in that sense. I'm punishing her. But at the same time, she's using that as a way to try to pretend I don't exist. She's still, it works both ways because she's trying to hide me behind her. That's why she sits on my face, basically. It works both ways. So, you notice I'm wearing this t-shirt. It says King. It says it's backwards. Oh, sorry, it's mirrored, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Sorry, this is, yeah. Well, maybe you can see it. Maybe you see it okay, but actually, probably not. It's mirrored, actually. It's mirrored. Because I'm screen recording. But anyway, it says King Koala. Or it says Koala King. Which is interesting, right? Because, you know what it means to cooperate. Or, ko means, together, right? And obviously, Allah. Or, Aliyah. Yeah? And obviously, a koala bear is native to Australia. Yeah, Australia. You know, bear. Well, you know, that's just the same as, you know, that B. Yeah, R. Yeah, B and R. Or it can mean bear, as in naked. Yeah? You're naked, I can see. Yeah? The emperor has no clothes. Or whatever, right? Excuse me. Oh. I mean, obviously I have clothes on, but bear. So, what else can I say? So that's, you know, I mentioned that, you know, she was in a relationship with Shia LaBeouf, right? So Fka Twigs, she was in a relationship with Shia LaBeouf. What is that? How you spell it? Hang on. Yeah, La Beouf. It's Beouf. Yeah, and I've explained who I am. I am Shy Yahweh. I'm God. See, the thing is, the world's hostile towards me. When I was Jesus, people murdered me. So, can you blame me for being shy? Can you really blame me for being shy? You know, I've got to make demands on people. I've got to tell people, well, I need you to give me what I want without sounding like I'm just some crazy guy who has a big head. You know, I was always shy. I mean, this is the thing, right? Because the word shine, yeah, shy is part of shine. You see, Freemasons, they know I'm shy because they understand how word babble works. Yeah, they look at the word shine because that's associated with light. That's what they want. They want my light. And they can look at that word and they go, oh, look, God's shy. So, you know, they'll find an actor who's called Shia LaBeouf, you know, and they'll put him in films like Transformers. Yeah, you seen Transformers? Wait, hang on. You know, Transformers. So Transformers, obviously there are people who are transsexual, transvestites, people who are cross dressers. Yeah, drag-ons. Drag-ons. Yeah. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. Hugh Grant. I already mentioned this one before. Yeah. Obviously I've hugged people. Yeah. He was involved with Notting Hill. He falls in love with Anna Scott. I'm Scottish. I was born in Scotland. Yeah, that's played by Leah Roberts. Yeah, a thief. She's claiming that she's Jewish, and that's Aaliyah. You know, the word cot is in Scot. You know, a baby is what you have in a cot, isn't it? You put a baby in a cot. So Transformers, you know, transformation in the tarot deck is associated with death. The death card means death and rebirth. Yeah? Death and rebirth. Um, and you know, this is the thing, you know, so Shia LaBeouf was in Transformers and he was with that woman. What's her name again? Her name's Megan. I can't remember now. What was her name again? Let me have a quick look. So yeah, let's have a look. So, Megan Transformers. So Megan Fox. So Megan Fox, right? So you see in Megan Fox, okay? So Fox in numerology, F is 6, O is 6, and X is 6. Okay? Because F is 6, O is 15, which is 1 plus 5, which is 6. X is 24, which is 2 plus 4, which is 6. That's how numerology is done. If it's a double digit number, the numbers get added together. So Megan Fox, yeah? And obviously there are quite a few Megans. You know, there's Megan, Megan the Stallion, yeah? See, what that really is saying, it's saying stool, lion. You see, like I said, Mary, who's Aaliyah, her ghost is on my body, right? You know, stool. Well, that's the thing, they're trying to stall me. They don't want me to be found. They don't want you to know who I am because they don't want to burn in hell. Yeah? You know, there's Meghan Markle. Oh, look, Mark. Yeah, remember Mark of the Beast? Oh, yeah. 666. Here's Mark, yeah? And here's Lee again. You know, as in Aaliyah. You know, there was a character in the film that Aaliyah did. You know, she was in that film called Romeo Must Die. Jet Li. Jet Li. You know, a jet's a plane, by the way, isn't it? Jet Li played the character Han. And you know, in Star Wars, there's the character, you know, Harrison Ford. You know, there's a character called Han Solo. You know, all these people, they're working as a team to destroy me. That's what they're trying to do. But ultimately, they can't beat me. I win. See, I win by exposing their secrets. Because if I expose their secrets, if I expose their secrets, it become, you know, that is my light coming back to me. That is my light. I'm just taking it back by exposing their evil ways. So is there really much else I can say here? Um, uh, what's that thing in so you know, there's like computer game. I used to play it when I was younger. It was called Metal Gear Solid 2. So Metal Gear Solid 2, if I put Foxconn, is it Foxconn? I can't remember what it was called. Oh, I'm not sure what I'm thinking of here. Yeah, I'm just sort of just checking an idea, but if I just search fox, well, there's grey fox. Hang on. There's the oh, it's the codec. Put fox codec. Yeah, so oh, I don't know. Anyways, I mean the thing is, my name is Grant Salvin, so MGS. Yeah, I mean it's yeah, you know, everything is, most things in the world are witchcraft trying to attack me, basically. But anyways, forget about that. That bit. So well, this is the thing about Megan Fox, right? Because Megan Fox, if I go back to Megan, so Megan Fox and Machine Machine Gun Kelly. There's those there's those pictures. If I put leash, they went to some sort of awards show or something, right? Um, so I think this picture, so you can see, you can see what he's dressed in, right? He's trying to dress like he's a Roman Catholic priest, and he's got Megan Fox on a leash. Yeah, you know, look, she's on her knees. He's putting bread in her mouth. That's what these people are about. Okay? You see, these are the people, they don't care about children being enslaved. They don't care about child sex slaves. They care about fame. Yeah, they want to be getting their photos taken. They want to have loads of money in their bank accounts. They want people like you to worship them and think they're fucking great. And that's basically what you do. And I'm explaining to you exactly why you should not worship these people. Because they are very evil. And the thing is that, pretty much anyone you think of who's a celebrity, they all contribute to the system in one way or another. You have to understand that the reason, people, you think about the music industry, for instance, yeah, the music industry is controlled, isn't it? It's controlled by wizards and witches. It's the same with Hollywood. It's the same, these people, they're part of secret societies. They join, a lot of them, they'll be Freemasons, and they think that they're more knowledgeable, and they look at you like a complete idiot. They think you are stupid. They think you are cattle because you are blind. You don't see the truth. They learn witchcraft. They learn how to manipulate. They learn how to steal power because they want money. They want sex. They want status. Yeah? I mean, there's that song by Machine Gun Kelly. What's it called? Alpha Omega. Yeah? So there's a music video. Okay? There's a music video. You can see it's all over here. Yeah? Look, Machine Gun Kelly, Alpha Omega, where he proclaims that he is the Alpha, he is the Omega. He's saying that he's God. He's got a body covered in tattoos. That's all witchcraft. This is all magic witchcraft. art. You know, that's why people like him are obsessed with getting tattoos on their bodies, because they like the power from it. I mean, look, you see here, he's got a spider on a spider's web. Yeah? Well, that's the thing. In a sense, you could call me Spider Man, because I spend most of my time in front of a computer. Yeah? I'm on the internet, I'm on the web. Yeah? He's got an angel tattoo there. Yeah? Um, he's got all these different tattoos. You can tell a lot by a celebrity by looking at their tattoos. Um, there's all kind. You can learn a lot about the magic that they're trying to do, or at least I do. But so I'm hoping I've explained a lot, and I wish that you would understand what I'm saying, and I wish you would see all the stuff that's going on in the world. I wish you would see how evil the world is. I want you to open your eyes and recognize that what I'm showing you, it can be, these this type of magic is, word magic, the babble. You can see it all over the place. You can see it when you watch the news. You can see it when you look at any celebrities. You can look at their albums. You can see why they do things the way that they do. When films come out, you can see that the films, that you can see why they have the certain name for the film. You can see why they have certain actors, why they have, why the story is the way that it is. I know, I started this video, I said I was going to, I was talking about Fka Twigs. But the thing is, I've got to, I need to tell you this. I need you to understand all this stuff. I need you to figure out what it is that I'm saying. Fka Twigs, this is one example. It's there's all this stuff. There's a lot more. See, people have a certain idea about, you know, well, people who believe that Jesus will come back to earth, they have their ideas of how that should look and how that's supposed to be. People, but most people have all kinds of beliefs. They want to believe in things like the rapture. Um, what is the rapture? Look, what is rap? Is that not just saying rape? Is that not just a sneaky way of saying rape? It is. Rap is, you got drill music. Yeah, there's grime. There's trap. Yeah, what does trap mean? Why do they have to have these names? You see, they're all trying to get light. It's all about the Sodom and Egypt connection. That's what it's all about. And you can observe that it's all over the place. I'm God. I expect you to respect me. and respect that I'm God, I'm in charge, I make the decisions, and I want you to be happy with that. I want you to accept that I make the decisions and that I have my reasons for why things should be the way they should. I know best. I'm God. I'm the creator of you and everybody else. You can't tell me what to do. I'm the one who tells you what to do because I know what's best. And I'm here for justice. I mean, going back to what I said at the beginning of this video, so, virgins, okay? Virgins. So, 10 virgins parable, okay? Oh, hang on. Oop. Whoopsie. Oh, okay. So, I think I've got well, that's Catholic. I don't like that, but, look. So, there's the parable of the 10 virgins, okay? So, let me go to Matthew 25. Matthew 25. Okay? So, Matthew 25. That'll do. Bible Gateway. Okay? So, let's read some of this, okay? So, the parable of the 10 virgins. New International Version. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Let's just start with that for a second, okay? Okay? Have a look at my face. Would you say I need to have a shave? I need a groom, don't I? Yeah, but who's the groom then? Because the word is bridegroom. So, yeah, this is the thing, right? Because, that's witchcraft against me. You know what a grooming gang is, don't you? You see, the thing is, I shave my face, and then the next thing, well, obviously I shave every so often, but the fact is that, the grooming gang thing, well, demons are trying to blame me. They're trying to make out that it's me, or it has something to do with me. Like, it's horrible. I get, it's very bad that, I get accused by demons. I get, they're trying to put me in a bad light. They want to put me in darkness. You see, I'm the bridegroom. I'm God. I'm looking for my bride. So let me have a look. Let's go back to Matthew 25, okay? So it says here, verse 2, 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. The foolish ones took their lamps, but did not take any oil with them. The wise ones, however, took oil in jars along with their lamps. The bridegroom was a long time in coming, and they all became drowsy and fell asleep. At midnight the cry rang out, "Here's the bridegroom, come out to meet him." Then all the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish ones said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, our lamps are going out." No, they replied, there may not be enough for both of us and you. Instead, go to those who sell oil and buy some for yourselves. But while they were on their way to buy the oil, the bridegroom arrived. The virgins who were ready went in with him to the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Later the others also came. Lord, Lord, they said, open the door for us. But he replied, truly I tell you, I don't know you. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour. So there's a lot of stuff I could say about this. You see, Jesus said, the eye, or the eyes, so the eye is the lamp of the body. You see, like I said, I've mentioned this, Jesus is associated with my butthole, okay? Because I was Jesus in the past. Yeah? I've already said, pa, that means dad, ass, T. This is all to do with sodomy and Egypt and bondage and all that stuff, okay? I've already explained that so many times. And the eye is, see, the butthole is called an eye, okay? Because that's how you say it, right? Because you say an eye. I mean, that's just one example, right? Anne, who's Anne? Us. Anne is us. Yeah, anus, I. It's all there. My dead mum, she was called Fee. Yeah, Fee sees. Yeah, feces. It's magic. You can see that in all kinds of religions. Egyptian mythology, there's the sphinxes. Yeah, sphinx. That's connected with sphincter. Yeah, the pyramids, another, that's to do with pi, which is to do with circles. Yeah, the circle thing. It's something like that, isn't it? Or it's the other way around, I can't remember. But anyway, whatever. Just get rid of that. So the eye is the lamp of the body. I mean, look at the word lamp. The word lamb is in lamp. Basically, it is. Yeah? You see, people call the butt, they call it the moon. It looks like a star. The sun is a star. So, what it says here, it's talking about oil. Well, lubricant is an oil. And, it says that they, where does it say? Hang on. It says, look here, verse 7. Then all the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. Well, look, people today don't have oil. People don't use oil lamps, do they? They don't use, those traditional oil lamps that were used in the past. But, obviously I've explained to you what this is really all about. Trim, well, this is basically, it's saying that they trimmed their private parts. That's basically, that's really what it's saying. Because they're trying to impress me, God. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, well, this is the thing, I mean, the parable about, people asked, what would be so there's the wedding parable, isn't there? There's the wedding, let me go to the wedding parable. The wedding parable. What is that then? Yeah, Matthew 22, 1 to 14. Okay, so if I go back here, so 22, I think it said. Um, let's have a quick look at this one then. Okay, so 22, verse 1. Remember what I said about Aaliyah? She died when she was 22. Yeah? So, Jesus spoke to them again in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven is like a king who prepared a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his servants to those who had been invited to the banquet to tell them to come, but they refused to come." This is exactly what the situation is for me right now. People won't listen to me. People don't acknowledge who I am. They're refusing to come to the wedding. This is what is the situation right now. Then he sent some more servants and said, "Tell those who have been invited that I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and fattened cattle have been butchered, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet." But they paid no attention and went off, one to his field, another to his business. The rest seized his servants, mistreated them, and killed them. The king was enraged. He sent his army and destroyed those murderers and burned their city. There's a lot of war going on right now, isn't there? Then he said to his servants, "The wedding banquet is ready, but those I invited did not deserve to come. So go to the street corners and invite to the banquet anyone you find." So the servants went out into the streets and gathered all the people they could find, the bad as well as the good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king, look at, so it says there, the bad as well as the good. Yeah? It says it right there. What's that talking about? So, verse 11 here. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man there who was not wearing wedding clothes. He asked, "How did you get in here without wedding clothes, friend?" The man was speechless. Then the king told the attendants, "Tie him hand and foot and throw him outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are invited, but few are chosen." So, this is the thing, right? Obviously it says here bad, the bad as well as the good are going to be coming to the wedding, basically. But, this is the thing, right? Because obviously the guy, he comes to the wedding in a disrespectful manner. Yeah? So this is the thing, right? I tell you I'm God, you know, um, if you're going to be like, "All right, mate, then." Yeah, "All right, geezer. All right, mate." No, don't, just that kind of attitude. It's disrespectful. I'm your creator. I created the universe. I create everybody. Okay? I'm not, you know, treat me with some respect, please. That's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for some respect. But this parable, it, it sums up the situation quite well, really. Um, I told you about the parable of the virgins, the trimming of the lamps. Well, think about it this way, you know. How old is a girl when she loses her virginity? Especially if she's a pretty girl, If she's a pretty girl, what age does she usually lose her virginity? Is it 16? Is it 15? Is it 14? Is it 13? Is it 12? Do you know what I'm saying? Um, Consider that. Think about that. Um, the trimming of the lamps. Well, this thing, I'm God. I um a lot of people want to think that God doesn't have desires. That God doesn't actually desire a woman. He just, he's like, you treat God like he's asexual. You treat me like I'm asexual, like I don't need sex or I don't need anything like that. So then what the fuck is the wedding thing about then? What's that about? You tell me. What's this wedding thing about? What's the parable of the 10 virgins about? Oh, you want to think that's symbolic for Christians in general? That God doesn't really need a wife, he just needs a bunch of people who are symbolically his wife, but not really his wife. Now, why do you think that? If that is what you think, why would you think that? Why would you believe that? Do you find it hard to accept that God might need or might be in a sexual relationship of some kind? Is that painful for you to accept? Why? Why does that hurt you so much? Why are you so offended by that? Perhaps it's because you hate me. Yeah, maybe you have a deep-seated hatred for me, and you just wish for me to suffer and die. So, that's something for you to think about. Please. What else can I say about this? Really? Um, there's a verse somewhere about... Where is it? Where is it? I don't want to look... It's not Proverbs that I'm looking for. There's a verse, it's somewhere, okay? So the verse is basically God saying, me saying, when I return, I will come to you like a mother bear looking for her cubs. Yeah? So bear, bear, that means naked. And cubs, well, you should know what that means. See, the thing is, the world is full of irresponsible, evil parents. I am God. I am much better than most parents. This is the thing, right? This is the thing. Jesus said, I will come to you like a thief. Yeah? Jesus said, I will come to you like a thief. I mean, this is the thing, right? Because people have children. God made it clear that, those children that you have, well, you're simply borrowing them. They're not really your children. They're my children. I created everybody. I'm the creator of everybody, not you. Not the biological parents. Yeah? So this is what I'm saying. And I'm hoping that people will accept who I am, understand who I am. Um, and obviously, well, if people want to fight me about it, if people think that they can, well, they're in for a very nasty surprise. Because I'm God, and there isn't anyone who's more dangerous than me. That's the thing, right? I can't lose. I mean, obviously, I don't want to fight with anybody. I don't want to argue with people. Um, I want people to see, understand who I am. I'm trying to show you. I've tried so hard to tell you who I am. If that's not enough for you, well, quite honestly, you're blind, you're deaf, and you're dead. And if you have children, well, they'd be better with me than with a dead person. You. That is logical. It's logical, yet you don't want to believe that. I am the best thing for children from bad families. I'm their savior. I'm the savior of lost children. I'm their best hope. So, my justice and my vengeance, it's supposed to look a certain way. And the problem is that the world doesn't like it. And that's probably you as well. I don't want you to be that. But if you're going to be that, well, you are going to suffer. You will be cast into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I mean, look, well, not let me go back here, okay? So it talks about the wedding. So here's the guy who came to the wedding, and he wasn't wearing wedding clothes, right? And the king told the attendants, tie him hand and foot, and so bind him hand and foot, throw him outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And this is a guy who actually bothered to come to the wedding. He just didn't wear the right wedding clothes. So what do you think is going to happen to you if you really think that you can get in my way? Perhaps it will be worse for you than this guy. Is that what you want to be? The thing is, right, I want you to just imagine I am God. Imagine that I'm God and that you are in my way, and I'm asking you politely to get out of my way, or to help, to help me, to understand me, to believe me. Just try to imagine that you believe me. Try to think. Ask yourself the question, what if I am God? What if I, Grant Salvin, am the creator of the universe, of you? Do you really want to get in my way? Do you really want to? Do you really want to be in the way of my happiness? Do you want to watch me suffer? Do you want me to be lonely? Do you want me to be hidden from the world? Or do you want the world to know about me? If you can't accept who I am, then there's not there's nothing I can do for you except get rid of you, ruin your life, you know, your life will fall apart. If you don't accept me, all you're doing is you're trying to cling to what you have. That's really all you're trying to do. You're trying to cling on to any power you think you have before it all gets taken away from you. Because I don't lose. So, I think I've explained enough for this video. I've got a lot to do. I've got to clean my house. There's a lot of rubbish in my house, and I need to organize it. I need to tidy my house. So it's a 2-hour long video. I think I've said a lot. I think I've given you a lot to think about. If you cannot accept what I'm saying, well, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I've made so many videos. I will get what I want. I will get what I deserve. I mean, the thing, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, well, yeah, I mean, there are going to be a lot of people who, some people will be outraged. They'll refuse to see things the way that I do. The way things are supposed to be. But the thing is, God never said there was, he never said, oh, you can't get married unless she's 16 or anything like that. I mean, that's the thing, right? Because there are a lot of people, well, you think about in the past, 2,000 years ago, a man would marry a young woman. She might be 12, 13, 14, 15. But by today's standards, you would label that man something like a pedophile. But who are you to put that label on them when God hasn't, God said, do not judge and don't. I mean, obviously, there are evil people who do evil things. And there are evil people who have evil intentions in this world. I wouldn't deny that. I wouldn't say that's and I'm not saying that people shouldn't be concerned, because they should be. Obviously, when a young person is concerned, I mean, well, yeah. But the thing is, I'm God. And, I need to heal. I need to feel happy. And this is also about me exerting my authority and telling people, I am God. If you choose to challenge me, it's your funeral. I will not be told by a human being what I can and can't do. If I think, well, I will do what I want to do. I mean, ultimately, I haven't broken a law in, well, that particular law, I haven't done anything wrong. But the fact is that, I want people to understand who I am and what it is that I'm talking about and what it is they expect. I'm telling you what it is that I expect and how things are going to look in the future. That's how it is going to be. I will, but obviously, I'm going to wait for the world to have a think about it first. I want the world to hear what I have to say about this and see how people react to it. And obviously, there are going to be some people who are going to be angry about it. In fact, probably most people will be. And most people will not believe who I am. And then I will demonstrate, well, my power, will take care of them, right? My power will obliterate those who get in my way. That's how it is. So you have a choice you can listen to me, understand me, or you'll get obliterated, destroyed. Because I'm God, I don't lose. So, this is the end of the video.